like a Dateline special. I thought he was going to murder me. Welcome to Coffee with Gays. I'm Blaine.
I'm Reed.
And this is episode 25. And we are titling this one, It Started as Love Bombing and I Ended Up in the ER. Yes, it's a deeply personal episode for me, something I have wanted to talk about, and I kind of think it's time and maybe something someone needs to hear. It's an episode about domestic violence, so if it's something that triggers you, just trigger warning on that one. I was in a domestic violence situation in a bad relationship, and we thought it would be a good time to talk about gay relationships, red flags.
Yes, dating red flags.
Dating red flags. Obviously, I have not always listened to the red flags and recently did not listen to the red flags. Yeah.
Right.
And ended up with a fractured vertebrae. I was hit over the head with a computer, which we will talk about later, and almost was killed in my own apartment. So that is the teaser to this story.
Extremely traumatizing.
Yeah. So we're going to offer some tips and tricks on, how to look for those red flags in dating. I think we've both seen them, not all traumatic like my story, but we do want to talk about that and kind of also give, our advice there.
Right. Though Blaine's personal circumstance or situation was very traumatic, and we all are here for you for that.
Thank you.
We also do have some lighthearted stuff. We will talk about love aside from red flags and happy moments as well. But yeah, welcome.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. I want to also say welcome to the 3,000 new subscribers after our Pride arc, which did really, really well. We had a really good Pride arc with our first episode, which was about gay celebrities, which did super awesome from old Hollywood. That was a really fun episode that we did. And then we had a 2-part episode. Our friend Matt, who came out after 35 years, that did phenomenally well as well. We had that one in the bank for a year. And so we want to just thank everyone who's been following us and following along. And yeah, we're here and we just have been listening to all the comments and responding. And Reed has been loving all of your comments about him and everything that he has said. So keep them coming. We love it.
Oh, Blaine, wasn't one of the comments something about me giving, what did the person say?
About what?
I was giving what vibes?
Dusty vibes. We'll move on. Let's move on to the game. We'll do a little fun game first before getting into the serious part of this topic.
I'm here for it.
We'll calling it Flag It or Fix It. So
fix it or flag it.
Flag it or fix it.
All right, I'm here.
Okay.
Ready.
So you're on, I know you're not on dating apps allegedly, but
to be clear, I'm on no dating apps, 0, not a single dating or hookup app, none. So those of you that say I'm not on Grindr, but I'm on Scruff, I'm not. I'm on none of them.
That is very clear. We've already posted a video about this. There's a lot of catfishing. Reed is not on Grindr, but he has a fake Grindr profile. We're just making that clear. Okay, he messages sup at 1:38 a.m. and says he's a relationship guy. Is that a flag or a fix? What do you think?
So I have follow-up questions to this, but have you chatted with him before, or is this like an initial
like sup? It's 1:38 in the morning, but it's like his profile's like, I'm really just a relationship guy.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a red flag, I guess, depending on. It's obvious he's looking for
a
booty call. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I agree. I still think he could be a relationship guy, but it's okay. I would say it's still a fix it.
Yeah, honestly, I know plenty of people that have had like one night stands turn into long-term relationships.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Getting too drunk on the first date.
Listen, I love having a drink on the first date just like the next person, but y'all, I've experienced 2 first dates that were belligerent. It was embarrassed. I was embarrassed for that person. It was bad. I definitely say limit your liquor on the first date, at least on the first date.
I agree with you. I have a great story about this one. I went on a date with a guy to this place, Bob's Steak and Chop House, and no joke, he fell out of the booth during the date, and the waiter had to help me pick him up and put him back in the booth. And I immediately got an Uber home and had to put him to bed, like put a blanket on him. And then, by the way, found pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend. So yeah, he was
like framed photos.
Photos. He was still like kind of like still carrying that candle. So
Wow.
yeah. Okay. Only has Snapchat, like no other socials.
Wait, is that a question?
Yeah. Like he just doesn't really have any other socials, just Snapchat.
Can you ask that? So you're saying, is it a red flag if a guy strictly has Snapchat and no other socials? How did you meet him otherwise? Like, how did you get his Snapchat? Did you just
like
friend
again, like Grindr? Like again, if you're just like on Grindr and like he just only has a Snapchat.
Let me back up real quick. So are all these initial connections via Grindr?
Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah. Like
Okay.
you're a normal gay.
Like a normal gay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like if he only had Snapchat, then he probably wouldn't have a Grindr. But it's probably a red flag. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it's a little shady. He wants something real, and you're dating him. So it's been like, let's say a month, but he still hasn't deleted his dating apps.
How do you know he still hasn't deleted his dating apps?
Because they're still on his phone.
How would you know it's still on his phone unless you're going through his phone?
Are you the red flag then?
No, if after a month you're digging through the guy that you're
But if you see it on his phone, like you just happen to see it.
if you wake up to get a drink of water or go pee or something,
What if you're just sitting next to each other watching TV?
And
Well, you make
Grindr-
this very difficult on me.
and Grindr chirps
Yeah.
in, I mean, then you guys have a conversation. I wouldn't necessarily call it a red flag. I think everybody, with the exception of me, has this problem. I run into that issue with guys that I've dated where you're a month in. You're a month in. I would say it's a conversation. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's a fix it. I would also call it a fix it too. I would agree. I'd agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Suddenly acts like 2 dates is a relationship.
Red flag.
I completely agree. E.T. dubs. I went on a date with this guy and he was a flight attendant and he sent me a breakup text after our second date. And I was like, I didn't realize this was a relationship. You don't have to break up with me after 2 dates. It's perfectly fine that you're not ready for a relationship.
That's that meme, new phone, who dis?
Yeah, exactly. And then, okay. Well, this is totally red flag. Grainy photos that look like they were taken in 2005 on his dating profile. 2015. By the way, this actually probably really applies to you because you actually find people on Facebook. So grainy photos that look like they were taken on 2005 on Facebook because you meet people on Facebook.
I mean, you're gonna have to rephrase that. People friend me on Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
I don't go searching at all, but
So they're like grainier photos. They look a little older.
So I don't know. I feel like these days there are so many bots or whatever they're called, like fake profiles out there, or like when I was on Tinder, I felt like I was getting a lot more fake profiles than I was real profiles. So I don't know. It's really hard to determine these days with all the AI stuff and whatnot. Do you remember that guy that was sending me pictures and he sent me a video and we both, like I asked you and Ryan, I was like, dude, is this guy real or did he completely CGI the video? It was completely.
So for me, that would be a totally red flag. But for you, you kept asking. So.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
So there you go.
I'm a little naive. Yeah.
So for you, that would be a fix it. For me, it would be a red flag.
It would be a red flag. I need human to human interaction. Like I need to hear your voice, like see you in person. I need that kind of stuff. I'm needy. So
yeah.
Well, red flag.
There you go. Red flag for sure. There you go.
And that's what's the next one?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Those are it. Those are all of them.
Did you red flag most of them or no?
Pretty much red flag. I think there's a few fixes there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, great. Okay. So moving in. Okay. Let's get into the meat of it.
Yes.
So the ultimate red flag is I recently dated, like beginning of last year, ended up dating somebody who came up to me at a bar.
Wait, can I pause you there?
Go ahead.
It's so just from what I knew, I was under the impression that you met this guy not long before New Year's, maybe like the end of December, isn't that right?
Yeah, end of December.
All right, so you met him at the end of December. Then New Year's came around, which I didn't attend the New Year's Eve party that you guys went to, but I did hear a lot about it after the fact. I think we actually even talked about it on one of the episodes. Yeah, one of the first, briefly, the first, yeah, we actually did talk about it the first episode.
We did. Yeah, I know New Year's episode.
But because Blaine is such a forgiving guy, he went ahead and forgave what happened on New Year's and gave him a second chance.
Yeah. Yeah. He came up to me at a bar, and speaking of dating apps and everything, I really was kind of over meeting guys on dating apps. And I think there's a lot of questions around like, where do you meet guys these days? And I really have stopped meeting guys on dating apps. And I want to get into this later because now I'm kind of back on the apps, but I really started meeting people in real life. Like literally, I haven't been on dating apps for a very long time. And I've been meeting people in real life. And I have been very happy with that. And he came up to me at a bar, asked about my height. I'm 6'5", and oh, what's the weather like up there? I thought it was super cute. He was very cute and very flattering. So, immediately the love bombing started, and it was just like a whirlwind of a night. I mean, sleep together 5 times, go to brunch with my friends the next day, which I never do. Red flag number 1. Well, first of all, on my part, never take a guy to meet your friends day 1. But, I kind of was to the point of just like, I always try to separate. I don't know. What do you do? Like, do you keep your guys apart from your friends right at the beginning?
Yeah, I would say so. So it would have to depend on the first date. If the first date is me and him, right? We're getting to know each other. Probably the first week. I don't even tell anybody about the person I'm dating until probably a month or so in.
Yeah, I was at a 4-month kind of thing because my friends are harsh, to say the least. But I kind of had this like new theory where I was like, I'm just going to vet everyone real quick and just get them out of you know, get them out if they're really bad. So I took them to brunch, and there were just a lot of red flags at brunch, by the way.
This brunch happened before New Year's.
New Year's, yeah. It was like literally the day after we met, and my friend noticed he had a wedding ring on.
Back up. That's not one of the red flag questions.
No, it is.
Okay.
Totally. And he said, and my friend texted me during brunch and said, he has a wedding ring on. And I go, shit, didn't notice that one. And we had a text like 5 times that night. And I was like, oops, didn't know I slept with a married man. And so like, my friend ends up going like, what's the wedding ring about? And it's like, oh, I just wear it, so people don't hit on me at bars. Which come to find out, he had been married to a woman, had a daughter, hadn't told me any of this. I know. So literally like the stories start coming right at the beginning. And then, end up spending more time with this guy and ending up getting a lot of stories. And
again, like I'm trying to follow a timeline here. So this was what, the week before New Year's?
Before New Year's.
Okay, so week before New Year's, you met him, you took him out to brunch.
Yeah.
And then after that brunch,
I find out we got a daughter, we got an ex-wife.
Right.
Yeah. And then we end up spending pretty much the entire week together because it's like a whole love bomb, like.
Right. So brunch was in between Christmas and New Year's, right? After that brunch, then you guys did New Year's, or like inadvertently he ended up going with you to the New Year's Eve thing.
I took him to my friend's New Year's party.
Now tell me about how that went.
So I end up taking him to a New Year's party. I find out all this stuff about him, allegedly great Christian, goes to church all the time. Like I said, daughter, ex-wife. And then I accept all of this. He's, by the way, super pushing me to be his boyfriend, which I'm like, I don't want to be a boyfriend right away. But I did, like I said, invite him to my friend's New Year's party. And
Right. Yeah. So just to
the
preface, like,
second we get there,
yeah.
he says he's not going to drink a lot. And I also find out he is bipolar,
Yeah, okay.
which he's told me by this point too.
Like clinically bipolar.
Clinically bipolar, but allegedly on medicine. And I say, that's okay. I never want to judge anyone for a mental problem or anything.
No.
And, and I've had my own issues and everything. So I believe in, everybody getting help. So we go to the party and everything. And he says he's not going to drink a lot. He's going to make a good impression with my friends. And the second we get there, he has one whiskey Coke. And then literally within 20 minutes of getting there, he is 3 whiskey Cokes in, super drunk, and he just starts harassing like all of my friends, like literally like face to face with people. Like it was such a nightmare. I mean, my friends were just so uncomfortable the whole night. I mean, it was just a nightmare.
So before the ball even drops, he's already okay, cool.
It was
Cool.
very uncomfortable. Everybody basically hated him. And then I just basically had to put him in timeout throughout the night in one of the bedrooms. And needless to say, even the nicest of the friends were like, dude, you need to back off. Like, he was just so aggressive. And, we just had this like super like sexual relationship too. And of course that happened as well that night. And then, the next day I just ended up forgiving everything. And then he apologized. And, I kind of just decided, you know what, I just won't bring him around my friends and then it'll be okay.
So because you were attracted to him and because he seemingly apologized, you were kind of forgiving the obvious red flags in the room, right? Like you were kind
Yeah.
of okay. I get you.
Yeah. We had this like
I've been there.
really big connection, right? Like,
Really, what great sex connection?
yeah, that was part of it. And then,
Because outside of the sexual connection, what did you guys spend most of your time doing? Him apologizing and you forgiving? Just out of
yes,
curiosity.
yeah, that. And then I will say there was this other time that my mom happened to be here. And then he was like over here and he like prayed with her and did this whole Christian act thing too, which she really loved and really liked him too. Total freaking con artist, man. Yeah, he was allegedly like a missionary in Jordan, and this is another thing. I will probably always be running a background check too, because I think some of this stuff was wild. I mean, I learned he was like on a watch list at some point as well. Like it was just completely wild, some of it.
Right. Now, just to say, not all love bombs or not all quick relationships or quick, I don't know, connections are bad or red flags, just to say, but this has like, yeah. This
I
has
mean, because the assault happened in March. So like we're literally talking like end of December to like March 5th. And it felt like so much longer than that.
okay, so let me fast forward. After the New Year's Eve party, we recorded and filmed our first podcast of the year, right? It was about what, January 6th, 4th, 4th, 6th, whichever. And by that point, you guys were done. You guys were broken up.
No,
Yes.
we did? Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah,
We had a little break.
you guys were done and you were like, "Yeah, it's probably for the best. New Year's Eve was bad. You live and you learn. Probably not gonna talk to that one anymore."
Yeah,
So,
you are right. And then he like roped me back in.
yeah,
And
which I didn't even realize that he
that's
roped
when I
me in.
said, like, oh, what I'll do is I'll just keep him away from my friends. And that's what I think really caused a lot of issues with my friends in this is that I started seeing him again. He convinced me. And then it just got really intense. And like I said, he really convinced me like to be his boyfriend, even though I like really was like not going to do that. And it was against everybody's advice, which really caused a lot of problems with my friendships later down the road. And then I did end up telling everyone that we were together. I did. And they accepted it, kind of, kept him away from everyone.
So, like looking back, just to say, you can see his manipulation. He was starting stuff with your friends off the bat so he could remove the friends from the equation, get you alone, get you to himself.
The isolation is true. And he's not the first one to do it to me, which is like, I think what upset me the most. And I think this is a common thing with men because my last boyfriend in LA did the same thing, the one I lived with for 5 years. And he wasn't an aggressive personality like this. He was actually very opposite, but he also was very like isolating too. He didn't like me hanging out with my friends at all. So it's something I'm unpacking in therapy now because I'm like, why do I allow guys to? I'm a very social, outgoing person with a ton of friends. Like, why do I allow guys to do that? I don't understand how that happens. It's a very odd thing.
So the last guy I dated, not to get off topic, but the
Oh
last guy
yeah.
I dated, our first date, amazing. Our second date actually didn't happen for probably a month or so, but that's strictly because of scheduling. So our first date was awesome. It was just the two of us. I loved how he has a really close best friend. And a part of like the first few dates was the first one was him and I. I think the second or third one was me, him, and his best friend because he wanted me to meet his best friend, who I ironically I knew he was an acquaintance from a long time ago, but had a date with him and his best friend. And then another date was me, him, and his son. Well, yeah, it's not the giant friend group that you have, but some people do the whole incorporating your friends solely into it. I mean, he yours had so many red flags right off the gate.
I mean,
I'm not saying that you're an idiot either,
no, I
because we're all
mean,
like everyone has a naive moment for sure.
look, I mean, like I said, I've told everybody that I was completely naive. I mean, sex was the part of it. You and the love bombing. I mean, it is a thing for real. Like it was all the text and all the gifts. Like I've never had a guy give me gifts, and I'm not a gift person. I don't do gifts.
Yeah,
He bought me an Apple Watch, by the way. I ended up buying myself this Apple Watch because I had bought myself another Apple Watch that like wasn't the big Apple Watch. And then I bought myself this one after I gave it back after the incident because I was like, I can buy my own damn Apple Watch.
yep, you're an
But,
independent woman.
I'm an independent. I don't need him. But he bought me this Apple Watch one day and I was like, nobody's ever bought me a gift like this. And it was just this like moment of like, and I told him, I was like, go take this stupid thing back. I don't need an Apple Watch. I already have one. And he's like, oh, it's the small one. You need the big one because you're 6'5". And I was like, oh my God, like no one's ever done this for me. It's just weird. Right. And it gets really crazy because he ended up buying me a car. So just hold up
Yeah,
right of the assault.
yeah, yeah. No, I remember that. Yeah,
So like, it's just like these kind of crazy things that were like kind of screwing with my head. And I was just like, okay, like, I just haven't had anyone do those kind of things for me. And it just like roped me in. And that's, I think, like where that like love bombing kind of stuff happens. Right. So I don't know. Fast forward to,
March.
March, it just, he had been arrested because he, had a fight with his family, had a warrant out, and I finally had kind of had it with the crazy. He had already accused me of cheating on him when I had gone to DC. We had had a huge fight. He had gone through my phone and blocked hundreds of people.
Fuck me. Yeah,
Blocked you,
yeah.
blocked a business partner of mine, blocked so many people. And so I kind of had it with the crazy, the bipolar thing. So I ended up breaking up with him after he got arrested the first time. And then I told all my friends I broke up with him at brunch. And then he ended up getting this car from his grandmother and then gave it to me, this Cadillac. And that night that he brought me this car as a gift,
You guys. So let me just stop you there. I recall you telling me that you guys were booking your plane tickets to like Greece or something.
yes,
Yeah.
he had also decided that he was taking me to Greece. And we were planning a trip that night, actually, to Greece. And he
Which
had,
yeah.
because he was like going to sell his grandma's house and like with the money, he was going to take us to Greece. And that's what we were planning that exact night. And we had driven the Cadillac that he had bought me to Total Wine. And you could tell he was in a total manic state. And I told him he was in a manic state and he was just on a high, like a high. And you could tell.
Were you comfortable? Like, had you guys had, just to say, because he spoke about him being a bipolar or multiple personality, had you had a conversation and felt comfortable enough to say, hey, listen, I think you're having a manic
Yeah.
episode
I
or
told him we were
whatnot.
at Total Wine, and I said, "I think you're manic right now." I was like, because he was buying like very strange things, like a decanter and stuff, like stuff that we just didn't need. Cause I was like, I have that. And he's like, no, we need this, we need that. So
Had you ever seen his medication?
no, he said he was on it and I hadn't seen it. And he said he was like getting another kind of medication. And I was like, I don't know if he's on it because he was
Right.
definitely having manic episodes like more frequently, I felt. And
You ever see him do drugs?
hadn't seen him do drugs. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was because
Okay.
he was just like, really like out of it. And it just that night he was on just another level. So we were at Total Wine. He was just completely like going crazy, trying to buy like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff and just crazy stuff too. Like even like gift bags. It was like, oh, for the gram. I mean, it's just crazy.
Sounds like somebody on drugs or just having
He
a
seemed like
yeah,
he was
yeah.
on night. I mean, he might have been. I have no idea. And so we ended up coming back here. We planned this whole trip to Greece, and he ended up falling asleep on my shoulder because he was just so like manic, and I think he just got like tired. And I ended up finding out on his phone because it's sent like the Greece itinerary. It said we were planning it on Gemini, and he was obsessed with this Gemini thing. Sent it to his phone. Sent it to his phone, and I was trying to find it on his text messages. And then when I went through his text messages, I ended up finding out that he was also a erotic masseuse that I didn't know, and also that he was like, I don't know, trying to like hook up with dudes at like 4 in the morning on a night that he wanted me to come over, but I didn't. So he was like totally cheating on me. And I was like, cool. Woke him up, was like, what the hell is this?
So back up. He falls asleep on your shoulder. He has no password on his phone.
Well, his phone was open. I was doing the Gemini thing.
Okay, so he had fallen asleep on your shoulder while you were on his phone, or while
Yeah.
you were on his phone. Okay, that's on him. That's his
Yeah,
fault.
it
Not
was.
first of all, I don't condone going into like because in all honesty, I think these days your phone is just your phone. There's so many things
I'm
in my
not a
phone.
snoop either. I don't do that.
Right. And I'm not saying that you or I or anybody has anything on the phone that could be incriminating, but these days there's so much on my phone that could come off as incriminating or, whatnot, that I'd rather just you ask me and I give it to you. You know
Don't
what I mean?
forget he went through my phone and blocked a bunch of people, so
No, no, I haven't forgotten that at all.
yeah.
I don't know how I would have gone about that though. I would have
Yeah, I saw him, like, sucking a bunch of guys' dicks and, doing a bunch of erotic massage and everything. It was really heartbreaking.
and this is all between January and March,
Oh,
right? Like,
yeah, yeah, and then he found out he
wow.
was an erotic masseuse, and, if he had told me that and everything, I would have been like, because I kinda did wonder where he got his money and stuff. I'd have been probably okay with it.
Whoa, 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 back it up. I thought he was a personal trainer. I thought when I asked you what he did for a living.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me.
Okay, so you thought he was a personal trainer because he told you that he was a personal trainer, but then out of nowhere, he's
Doing
okay.
erotic massage
Alright.
and, you
Not that
know
erotic massages are bad. For those of you that do that for a living, like,
hey,
it's
no judgment. By the
yeah,
way,
y'all make more
again,
money than I do, that's for
one of
sure.
the more I'm probably one of the most sex positive people. Again, I probably wouldn't have cared. And also, like, by the way, like, and then during his manic episodes, he's sitting there like calling these guys that he used to hook up with. Anyway, I was just so pissed, especially after he had like accused me of cheating on him. I just
Right. So
was
you
so pissed.
so you wake him up after you read the text messages.
Yeah. I
You
wake
both
him up.
okay, just to clarify, you both are in your underwear, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Like, not dressed.
Yeah. Not
Okay.
trust.
Trying to,
And and then, I confront him about it. We end up talking about it for like an hour. He ends up just getting so angry at some point. Um, He was just like, his eyes were just doing this thing that I can't explain. And I've only seen it one other time. It was when he thought I cheated on him. And he went like literally crazy, had me film a video of him. And then he just lost it on me and started beating the shit out of me. Yeah, and he ended up I mean, it was a very long it was about a 45-minute situation where
that
he,
started in your apartment and ended
started my apartment. The highlights were he basically took my laptop at one point, hit me over the head multiple times, and I begged him to stop. And I thought it was going to be like a Dateline special. I thought he was going to murder me in my own.
Well, he tried choking you.
And he did choke me, and I passed out at one point, and I told him, "You're going to kill me." I was like, and I said, "Think of your daughter." And I have a very long apartment, and I somehow made it out of my apartment, and I was able to fight him off.
Right. So it started in the way Blaine's apartment is. It's you enter in the front door, you go it's just a long apartment that goes all the way to like the floor to ceiling windows that overlooks whatever. He's on the 16th floor. And it started in the back of the apartment, and you made your way
Well, it
from.
started in the bedroom, and then I ended up going to the kitchen, which is in the back, which was not a great idea.
No.
And that's where the worst of it happened, and that's when he hit me over the head, and I started bleeding, and that's when the blood started coming. He hit me with the computer, and the blood came down, and that's where he choked me. And then that's where I was trapped, and I thought, my God, I'm gonna die here.
Right.
I was like, how am I going to make it the hell out? And that's where I had to fight all the way back up to the front. And then I got to the hallway. I didn't even know where my phone was.
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't think I had my phone the whole time. And I ended up getting out into my hallway. And then I was against a wall, and I just started beating at a wall, screaming for help from my neighbors.
Was it 2 o'clock in the morning? 3 o'clock in the morning?
2:30 in the morning at this point.
Right.
And it was my neighbors didn't come out. I mean, my building's kind of built like a fortress, and also like I have a feeling everybody like thinks I'm crazy. All my neighbors, by the way, to this day, like ignore me. And then got down the elevator, but he followed me and beat me the whole time, all the way down the elevator. Ended up attacking my concierge too. After I was taken up by security, they separated us, took me upstairs, and then he attacked my concierge and
The female that's downstairs, was it a male or a female?
female concierge. Yeah. And so he escalated after I was even gone. And the cops were just shocked by it. He broke like computers downstairs, everything. So yeah, it was just he has some serious issues. And so
So at end of the night, he gets arrested. You press charges. He goes to jail, and that's the last you've seen of him.
that is yeah. Well, he ended up harassing me after the fact. He ended up contacting my boss after that, trying to accuse me of assault. And he contacted a charity organization I'm a part of, trying to accuse me of assault and a bunch of other illicit stuff. He tried to, so yeah, he tried to get me fired. And what else did he do? Oh, he stalked me. He sent somebody that he was in jail with to my house to collect the car keys, and showed up, and like my whole building staff that's here, like was like terrified. So yeah, it was just like endured about another 3 weeks of stalking after that. So that was, I mean, it was just like horrific. You know, I think the thing that was the weirdest thing for me is, one, you're kind of like, I feel bad. I understand women now after this. Like, number one, like, thank God. I live in this building called the Ashton here in Dallas. And like, thank God to the building staff here. They were amazing, because it was really terrifying. Like, number one, he was sending people here. He was hanging out around the building, and you're just kind of left like to your own devices. Like, the cops that were here that night, they were amazing, I have to say.
DPD.
But the detectives were shitty. They did like absolutely nothing.
Well, what were they supposed to do? He's already incarcerated. He's already in jail.
Jail for like 12 hours. And then he was out, and then he was harassing me. He had his grandma sending me texts. He had like random people threatening to sue me if I didn't return his Apple Watch and his car and all this other stuff.
So all the gifts that he got you, he wanted back.
All the gifts he wanted back immediately. By the way, it was completely illegal. I had an emergency protected order, and what he was doing was illegal, and the detectives were doing nothing. The cops were doing nothing. And he just kept threatening me. I had huge text messages, which I was sending to them, and they were doing absolutely nothing.
Well, I mean,
like I said, he was sending people that he was in jail with to my building. And like,
he can't have 24-hour surveillance. Like, they
no, exactly. But my
surveil.
point is, like, what he was doing was violating the protective order, and like cops should have gone and picked him up, and they weren't. So I'm just saying, like, if you're a woman, like, living in a house by yourself, like, that would be, like, terrifying. I was lucky that I'm in a protected building, like, and I felt, like, protected.
Right. You're in a condo and it's
It was
16 floors up.
yeah, like, I felt protected, but, like, I see why people are terrified of people like this.
For sure.
And, just to be clear, like, after this has happened, he was arrested a month after the fact for, assaulting a hospital worker, stalking at the same time, also stalking somebody else and harassing a witness,
In Denton.
and then
Yeah.
and then and then a month later in Kansas, he was arrested
Arrested
again
for like assault in the gym or
for
something, right?
assault, battery, destruction of property, and he's been in jail since then for a month and a half on a $175,000 bail. So he's literally super duper dangerous. Like literally, like it started with me and it just escalated and escalated.
Well, I thought you found out before he got arrested, he was arrested before too. Like,
And he was arrested before. Well,
yeah,
obviously, a week before he assaulted me, he was arrested.
yeah.
So, like, this guy was dangerous from the beginning. And, like I said, he was doing those harassing things to me for 3 weeks and the cops wouldn't do anything. I was begging them to do something.
Well, and just think to yourself, all the red flags questions that you were asking in the beginning of the game, none of them
Exactly.
like he didn't do any of them though, did he?
Didn't do any of what?
The red flags that we came up with at the beginning of the game. Beginning.
Did he? No, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, he did plenty of red flags, but he was charming. He was charming, but yeah, he had plenty of red flags.
Yeah, he did.
Then, I mean, I think from a cop and a criminal standpoint, he was like had tons of red flags.
Right.
And the cops still didn't do anything after the fact.
Yeah. I mean, did you get his this is a stupid question, but did you get his full legal name when you guys met?
I actually did. I had his driver's license and everything because his driver's license was expired. So I had to help him get a driver's license appointment. God, I'm such an idiot.
Hey, you wanted to talk about this.
I
I'm
know.
just saying, you
I gotta tell you though, I wanna say like the people who did the right things in this situation because um I think there was a lot that went good. When I went to the hospital, like I went to Parkland, and for people that don't know, like Parkland's the public hospital.
or
JFK went to the original Parkland, but there's a new Parkland. But it's where like if you're poor and you have no money to go. And when I was on the
there. I'm just kidding.
when I was on the gurney, I was like, they were like Baylor's Full, which is the private hospital, and I was like, oh my God, please don't take me to Parkland. That's like where the homeless people go.
God.
I have to tell you, the nurses and the doctors of Parkland were so incredible to me. I mean, there was this nurse. They have these forensic nurses. They call them forensic nurses, and they basically do all the measurements of your wounds. And she came to me and she said, Blaine, you know, I'm going to do like pictures and measure your everything and it'll help with the case. And if you don't feel comfortable, like you don't have to do it. I can come back. I know this is a thing and it's going to take like an hour and a half or something. And I was like, and you're just so tired and like out of it. Like, I mean, I had a major concussion. I obviously had fractured vertebrae and everything.
Neck bruising, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously my neck was bruised and all this stuff. And it was like 5 and 6 in the morning. I just was just out of it. And I did ask her to come back and then she did. And then she's like, I don't have to. And then she was just amazing. I have to tell you, they were just complete angels. I just really appreciate everybody at Parkland, how nice they were to me and just kind. Everybody told me not to go back to him. And I was like, by the way, do not worry. I will not.
You didn't, right? Like this is okay, yeah.
Not even cross my mind. But I will say, I mean, I do know like a lot of people go back into abusive relationships. I would never in a million years go back. Not like I had the opportunity, kept going back to jail, but he never contacted me again because I mean, there's a protective order, and I took every precaution to stay away from him. But I mean, clearly a lot of people would go back. I mean, and I was warned by everybody to not go back.
I kind of feel like these days a lot of people have this fear of being alone, which I mean I get it. It's not fun being single. It's not fun, doing things by yourself. I get it. And as humans, we do require like 8 to 10 hugs a day. It's like proven.
So I have to tell you, through this experience, I have learned, well, and I told you the statistic, Reed, that 25% of gay men actually have been a part of domestic violence. And I've actually had a lot of guys tell me that they've been, whatever, a part of domestic violence. They don't really report it. And some do go back. And I've been really shocked by how many people this has happened to.
Well, I mean, you're talking your situation was physical, mental, emotional, like abuse. He, this guy was a straight carn artist that was also physically
But I've
harmful.
heard a lot of guys that I know now that have actually been in the hospital, been beat up, that have showed me pictures, and then they went back to these people. I can't believe it. Did not. I would never. I
I
just
don't know anybody that would take I don't know.
I've now heard multiple stories. I would never do it, but I have to say, like I said, I had this woman, Veronica, from the family place in Dallas. She reached out to me. The Dallas police work with them. They reached out. I mean, there's so many support resources for people out there if you are victim of domestic abuse. So you aren't like left alone, but you kind of are sometimes. So there was a lot of steps along the way. I will say the Dallas prosecutors were amazing too. I got a 5-year protective order against him. And she spent, I don't know, an hour and a half going through my story and got him served with a 5-year protective order, which is more than the 2 years that they typically do. And he's also not allowed to post on social media about me because that's what he was also doing, trying to torture me.
But you're allowed to talk about him on your podcast.
Well, I'm not saying who or what, but
So that's
yeah,
right. We did not use names. Correct.
no names, just hypotheticals. But yeah, I have to say the prosecutor's been amazing, and they were really amazing. And I just have to say, like, I think my heart goes out to everybody that's been a victim of domestic abuse because it's just been like it was a lot. The other thing I will say, it's really weird how people act around you after this happens.
What do you mean?
Because I think people don't know how to act, and I do think there's a lot of judgment
What? Because I'm
because you
sorry.
got yourself into this mess.
I mean, listen. I will say I use the term, and I was brought up this way. If you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. Which is why I'm really, really tough
Yeah.
because I do really dumb things sometimes. So I'm just glad that you're okay, and that's all that matters to me. And I know, knowing the person that you are, you will take the circumstances and experience and turn it into a lesson and make sure that nobody else has to learn that lesson.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying I'm not dumb for getting into a bad situation and being a victim of domestic violence, but like I would have never expected him to do that to me and literally lose it.
I don't think anybody I shouldn't think that anybody would expect
I
that.
don't think anybody does, but I think what I do think is people need to give people that are in that situation a little grace. And I just think that maybe people just don't know how to react and they have a hard time with it. But I will say for victims of domestic violence, I do think there's probably a little victim blaming there.
Really?
I do. I just do. And I don't blame anyone for it, but I do feel like maybe I felt like a lot of people were like, well, he kind of let it happen cuz and by the way, in my situation in particular, he had been arrested right before
Right.
and then went back, and then I didn't tell anyone, so I was kinda stupid, and I get it. And in all fairness to the people in my life, like, they were really scared for me, so I understand.
Mhm.
But then it also feels like, it's like, "Oh, well, you should have known better." So, it's a very complicated thing, I think, relationship-wise with your family and your friends,
Right.
but I will say there's certain people that, like, I know didn't judge at all, but, like, I do feel like for people that have been through this, I see where people feel, like, very judged.
I
And
mean,
I
I
just wanna say to everybody out there, like, if you feel judged,
no, don't
that
feel I
like, I totally understand why.
getting physically assaulted is different than going back to your ex and then crying about him breaking up with you or something over and over. That's one thing,
I've heard
you know?
people when they like, especially women that have been insulted, say that they feel judged, and I understand that now. I've heard it, and I understand because, like, I felt judged, and it was like, oh, he kind of, like, let that happen to him, and I totally like, yeah, I mean, I kind of put myself in that situation, I was stupid, but I get why people kind of
I don't look at that at all. I look at the situation as in, yes, there were red flags and yes, there were signs, right? But nothing in your mind was telling you this guy is gonna fucking lose it
yeah.
and try to kill me with my own laptop or try to choke me out. Like, nope, nothing was telling
I'm
me that.
also 6'5", and I would never have thought I could not take him in a million years, and I just,
I say so that I think is a scary thought, because I'm not 6'5", right? And I'm 5'9", and I'm super skinny. But like I feel like I can take on whomever tries to like attack me. I don't know why. Right. Yeah, I've always felt that way too. But so that had to have been a terrifying situation, thinking that like literally telling him, "You're gonna kill me," like I feel
I
like
think
I've
that's the scariest thing because I've traveled all over the world, and I told my friend, I'll give my friend Whitney a shout out here because we've traveled together, and I always tell her, like, "Oh, Whitney, please, like, stop being scared. Like, I'm 6'5", like, I'm not, you know, I'm basically invincible." That was the first night I knew I wasn't invincible, and I knew, like, I could die.
yeah.
That was, I think, the scariest thing.
Well, yeah, without even thinking, you know, I worry about people that I don't know who I was talking to about this. The other was I talking to you about this? How I'm afraid that oh no, Buddy's ex-wife, the guy that we're gonna have on next. I was like, listen, dude, I would be afraid that you would fall asleep next to her if you guys got back together, and she would kill you in the middle of like kill you while you were sleeping. Like this, like the things that his ex-wife is doing to him, or his current wife is doing to him, soon to be ex-wife, makes me I told him I was like, I fear for your safety. I feel fear for your life. I feel like she is going to make sure that she has a life insurance policy set up, come home one day, make you a drink or something, put you to sleep, and then murder you at night.
Well, and to this point, and I think this gets into, like, who you date and who you stay like, even let's stay over your house at night. Like,
It's crazy.
I now think that, like, who I even let in my home, I actually now have cameras in my house. I have a camera in the studio, I have a camera in my living room, and I do because, just in case something like that ever happens again, I am somewhat protected or have it documented because, like, I'm, again, like, not invincible.
Right.
And
No,
you're
it's
right,
smart.
that could happen in your sleep, and
Mhm.
you wouldn't have a chance. So, yeah, it gave me a really big perspective on life, and you just got to be a lot more careful about people than you think. And I definitely won't be letting people in anymore, like I used to, or you know getting that close. Now I will say, um, I have started dating again,
Oh, yeah.
but I just started dating again. I am back on Grinder, and some apps. I'm in therapy, and it's been good. It's been good. By the way, I have to say the state of Texas has a lot of really good resources for
Domestic violence and
domestic violence. Yeah, the Office of Ken Paxton. I know nobody likes Ken Paxton, but they actually do a lot. You don't have to pay for anything, and they actually told me that at the hospital. They said, "Don't worry about any of your medical bills." Which, thank God, because they did a full body CAT scan on me, full body. like everything head to toe, which is how I found out about all my fractured vertebrae and everything. And by the way, I'm fine, physical therapy and everything. Uh, but
Plastic surgery.
but they do cover all your medical bills. They cover 3 years of therapy. They cover everything. Relocation services. You're allowed to move for 3 years. Like there's a whole. I mean, they cover literally everything.
Do they pay for your moving? I don't understand.
Relocation services, like everything. Like they cover a lot.
Are you telling me all I need is some dude to beat me up and then I'm just kidding.
That's all you need. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
So
I
you're
know
gonna
that
get
joke.
you're gonna get your ass handed to you in the comments for this
I'm
stuff.
sorry. My sincerest apologies.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to anyone that's gone through domestic violence.
But I have to say, state of Texas, Ken Paxton's office, and they're very responsive. They were very quick at approving everything for me, getting the money there. It has been really incredible. And then I actually work with the Resource Center of Dallas, which is our gay center here in Dallas. And my therapist is through there, and they've been amazing. So I want to thank them as well. And my therapist, Noelle. So anyway, that's why I'm able to talk about all of this. Anyway, there's a ton of resources out there. There's an organization called RAIN. And then, like I said, the Family Place and Veronica was amazing. They do a liaison work with the Dallas Police Department. I'll put all those resources in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to talk about next? Sorry. Cut this part of something. So, what are your final notes on red flags and how to prevent them?
I don't think red flags are preventable, if I'm being honest.
Do you Google your date?
No, I don't. So here's the thing. As surprising as this may be, I'm a firm advocate of love and things that like in a perfect world, my future husband or my soulmate would hit me with his car in the gym parking lot or the parking lot of a dog park or something like that. That would be, my ideal situation. But because we're in 2025, I know that apps happen and social media happens, and that's how you connect and meet people. I think sometimes after having a great connection for a little while, sometimes the relationships go sour. I don't know. Sometimes they go south. Hopefully, not as south as Blaine's relationship went, but it's important to remember that being patient and getting to know someone is okay. Sometimes, yeah, of course, do your background checks for certain things. If you see a red flag or if you come across a red flag, do your due diligence. I don't recommend to anyone going into anyone else's phone. I don't recommend that because I feel like that's a huge invasion of privacy and for many reasons. I mean, your phone these days is that's your link to your jobs.
I agree.
So it could also cause really big fights, not like Blaine's, but just have patience, be honest, be upfront with each other. Don't cheat on each other unless that's something that you guys have agreed upon or something. I don't know. But yeah, if you see red flags, do your due diligence. Tell a friend. I don't know.
I will say, I do think love bombing is a red flag. I do think getting into, and this is, like I said, I shouldn't have gotten involved too quickly. Again, I told myself I wouldn't. Gonna work with my therapist on this one. Don't get into something too quick. I did. The last time I did too when I was in LA, didn't work out. I did Google him, by the way, and there was nothing. Now, my friends have all started using some app to start looking up their phone number and doing like little mini background checks.
I have those.
You have those?
Yeah, I have like been verified and that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, so just to say, I don't look up like the last guy I dated. We'll call him C. I didn't look up his background because he was pretty upfront with me on his first date that wasn't divorced as of yet when we went on our first date, and that was fine. He had moved away from his ex, and he had told me he was honest and upfront about it. So I think that's another reason why we took things very slow. I don't know, but yeah, if you want to do your background check, do your background check, and just don't. That's like looking at someone's Facebook and going through other pictures and going, "Oh, I don't know, I don't like him. Look at this. I don't like him. Look at this." Give it a second, give people a chance. I'm an advocate of love. Don't judge a book by its cover. Okay.
I mean, you think you're right. I think, like I said, all the warning signs for my person was there, obviously. And look, even my guy from West Hollywood, I knew, after a few months probably it wasn't going to work, but I'd already moved in with him after like 6 weeks. So, and yeah, I think you have to cut them when you know it's bad. And then definitely just when you see those red flags, just cut them off and get done with them.
I mean, give us your dating advice. Chime in and give us your dating red flags. What are your red flags? What to look for, what not to look for.
Yeah,
I would honest to God love to hear what they would have to say.
Yeah, what's your most chaotic red flag moment?
I want to hear people's top 10 red flags. Like where's your all right, this is number 10. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. Like 10 red flags, 5 red flags, whatever it is. How long do you wait until you finally let someone go when you're dating them and things haven't progressed?
That would be great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and listening to my story and my trauma. And, if you're listening to this and you feel trapped, scared, confused, alone, you're not.
You're not
There's
alone.
always a way out and you can always get out. So you're not crazy or weak. And it's not your fault.
That's a.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh.
It's not your fault ever.
It's not your fault.
And by the way, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this has been another episode of Coffee with Gays. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to all the new followers again. Follow Coffee with Gays for more episodes like this one. I want to say we actually have a lot of exciting new episodes coming up. We have some authors we're going to be interviewing, the queer authors that we're really excited that is coming up next.
Some straight people, my homies.
And with some very interesting stories.
Oh, yeah.
And we're really excited for these new format shows of Coffee with Gays. So thanks for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks. Cheers.